Wishing for a Christmas mortgage miracle? Patriot Trading Group wants to make your wish come true. Just enter to win on Family Values Radio website, and you could enjoy having your mortgage paid for a year. That's right. It's the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest, where if you win, you'll have all kinds of extra money for other things, like a vacation, new clothes, new giant screen TV with whole home audio, whatever else may be on your wish list, because the winner will receive their mortgage or rent payments covered for a year. To enter, go to FamilyValuesRadio1010.com and click on the banner. Enter once each day to increase your chances to win and look for bonus entry opportunities. That's FamilyValuesRadio1010.com and enter the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest, sponsored by Patriot Trading Group. See our website for details.
Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com, and, of course, the physical delivery of gold and silver. It is what we do. We do it really, really well. We've been doing it for 2.5 decades, getting ready here to start year number 26. It's a long time. This show's been on the air for 26 years as well. That's another one. That's hard to do as well. But we do our best to give you the best knowledge and keep you entertained in the process. And it is the day after the Federal Reserve had their big meeting. We're going to give you all that you need to know about it, but we we are telling you, be ready. This is when gold's going to move, et cetera, et cetera. And at least for right now, I'm not going to say I told you so, but gold's up $35, silver's up 76 cents right now, and it's just getting started as Jay Powell was an absolute disaster yesterday. But we'll get to that in a minute. I want to bring on my partner in crime. He runs our office up in Colorado, Jason Walker. Jason, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. It's a good day to be on the radio, and you've said it for, I don't know, a couple of months now. Hey, when they taper, it's going to go up, and it did.
Well, and it's only day one. You know, let's be fair. It could go down tomorrow. It could go down before the end of the day. But this is where and why the markets are so manipulated. Because obviously, did anything change from yesterday to today, from last week to this week? Of course not. But this is a very elegant dance that they put us through, because they want you to believe that there's rhymes and reasons to all of this, and that it's we're just trading on the news of the day. It's absolutely ridiculous. All that's really happening is manipulation. We continue to be manipulated. This is the ultimate Wizard of Oz event, and Jay Powell's the man behind the curtain, and very, very soon that curtain is getting ready to expose. As they tell you, the emperor has no clothes on when the tide goes out. We're going to see who the real men are, Jason, and we just and all that's happened. We're just getting closer to when that time comes.
He's kind of like the man. He's like the big image of the scary, screaming thing on Wizard of Oz. The man behind the curtain is the actual bank owners, the people that own the Fed. That's the guys behind the curtain, because he's actually out there in the open. He has the job of being the scary guy that says scary things. so he's the actual image.
He's like the Wicked Witch.
Yeah,
him and Janet yelling. That's you're actually probably right about that. We got a great show lined up for you. Jason, help me. Is it the Paris Accord? Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, yep.
That's happening right now. All the billionaires and all the bankers and, the president, they all flew to Scotland on their private jets and going to tell the rest of us how we need to live. And two things that really strike me as funny. So I want to give some credit to the energy companies because they've done what's been asked. Build wind, build solar, all this quote-unquote alternative energy. But they were very, very smart. They didn't deactivate all of the coal-fired plants. Where this Paris Accord meeting is happening right now, the wind apparently is not blowing, Jason. So they had to turn back on the coal plants so they could actually have power. If they didn't turn on the coal plant, they would have had meetings with no power. I think that would have been more appropriate.
They had to turn the coal power plants on so that they can turn the motor on the wind turbines and move them.
Right. and again, and I don't mean to laugh about it because I don't. But by the way, OPEC has now responded to President Biden begging them to increase production with no thanks. And really, ultimately, at the end of the day, at $80-some a barrel, believe me, they're producing as much oil as they can. Right? Let's not be fooled here. Right? They aren't increasing production. Maybe the only nation that possibly could would be Saudi Arabia. That's it. But they just came out. This just happened a few minutes ago. They said no thanks. But when we get back, yesterday, there was an interview done with one of the CEO of one of the largest fertilizer companies. Now, yesterday we did this big thing about fertilizer. We were talking about the two largest fertilizer companies and the fact that there's going to be huge shortages of fertilizer and whatnot. But when we get back, we're going to walk down exactly how much it costs now to produce fertilizer and what they're saying is going to happen for food prices and actual quantity of food heading into next growing season. So don't touch that dial. That all happened at the Paris Accord yesterday. We're going to bring it to you next. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Before we get to the CEO of a major fertilizer giant, Yara International, we'll get to him in a minute. Yesterday, we ran Silver Eagles, and we were the cheapest anywhere in the country that we could find. We have there's a large wholesale gold and silver show going on right now. We have representatives there. Brittany was on the phone with them this morning. Listen, silver is up almost 80 more cents now, actually over $24. Here's what's available. There's another 50 rolls. That's it. Think about this. This is the largest event between now and the end of the year. And we went and hunted every major silver wholesaler that's at this show. We got 50 more rolls of Silver Eagles. We're going to be the cheapest again. But yesterday they were $685. They're $700 a roll. It's actually a little bit of a better buy today because silver's up about 80 cents this morning from where it was yesterday. So, but not much, about the same. But once again, we are the lowest in the country. And actually, believe it or not, if you had the Type 2 2021 Silver Eagles, and only a couple dealers have those, and nobody will sell those. That's actually the cheapest silver available on Silver Eagles. All the backdates, which these are all going to be backdates, and they're all going to be fresh. So that's another important distinction here. We're talking $2, $3, $4 an ounce cheaper than the cheapest guys in the country. 800-951-0592. So that's 50 rolls. That's it. And again, really now I'm really convinced, Jason, unless we get lucky, this may be it for us anyway for Silver Eagles till next year.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. You know, there's always something that could just pop up out of nowhere. But
right. We don't know. Listen, we've been doing this, like I said, for 25 years, getting ready to start year 26. We could have a customer walk in the door tomorrow.
Just don't wait around for it.
But unless that happens through normal wholesale chains, very unlikely. You rolls of U.S. Silver Eagles, those are 21-ounce Silver Eagles. If you're a new, and we've had so many new customers, listen, it's so easy. And I promise you, you don't need to be scared. You don't need to be afraid. Call the 800 number. Brittany's going to answer the phone. She's as sweet as can be. And she, just tell her, Brittany, I'd like the special. Or Arlene, I'd like the special. Here's what they're going to say. I promise. How many would you like? I mean, that's our big question for you. Then you just tell us, I want 1 roll, I want 5 rolls, I want 10 rolls, whatever it may be, and we'll get it done for you. And it's just that simple. Listen, here's what we don't do, too. After you've ordered from us, we don't make cold calls. We don't call our clients ever. We don't email our client. I mean, we email you tracking information. We'll call you if you've asked us, hey, will you call me when you got the check, or will you call me when you're shipping the product? We'll do all that stuff. Otherwise, or Jason will call you to schedule an appointment to go pick up. If you live in Phoenix or if you're up in Colorado and you want to pick up at one of the offices, then you save yourself a shipping fee. If we need to ship to you, and listen, we ship everywhere in the U.S. and U.S. territories. Anything like Canada or Switzerland. If you want to do 250,000 or more, I'll arrange it. Otherwise, we just ship in any U.S. territories, all 50 states and U.S. territories. We ship to. We ship FedEx. We can also ship UPS, post office. But FedEx is our primary way of shipping, and we charge a flat $35. So it doesn't matter how much you order, how little you order. It's a flat $35, and you get emailed all your tracking information and all that good stuff. And then that's it. Then you never hear from us again unless you call us. So it's really probably the exact opposite way you should run a sales company. But, Jason, I think our customers love that.
Yeah, and we're small business. We're not some big, huge internet seller that you don't know what's going to happen if you ever decide to deal with them again. We do face-to-face business. We do word of mouth advertising where we take care of you, and then you go tell other people to buy from us. And that's why I bought into this thing, Joe, is because I knew that this is a good way to do business.
Yeah, 90% of our business is referral. Really a new business anyway. People, they listen to the radio show. Somebody told them, hey, check these guys out. And, we just do things right. Doesn't mean, hey, we don't make mistakes. We make mistakes. We do. But I promise you this, we fix them. And we fix them immediately. Not that we make very many. Brittany's very good at her job. So, anyway, 800-951-0592 if you just joined us. Gold's up $34 right now, $17.98. Silver's up 78 cents right now, $24 and change. We had the big climate change Paris Accord meetings, and they did an interview with Yara International CEO. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the guy's name, but he's a major fertilizer manufacturer. That's what they do. And here's what he said. I'm afraid we're going to have a food crisis. By the way, who is he telling this to? You may have heard of him. Fortune magazine. After the climate change conference, he was talking about the price of energy and saying, hey, natural gas has tripled just since June. They produce, they're the major producer of ammonium, a key ingredient in fertilizer. the process to create it relies on hydro or natural gas power. Okay, so that's, you need energy. This is it's one of those weird things where energy is the primary thing that's needed. To produce a ton of ammonia, last summer, it was $100. And actually, let me be fair, $110 for 1 ton. He says today it's $1,000. So you think about, that's 10 times, right? That's a 10 times increase in the price. But that's not a doubling, that's not a tripling, right? That's 10 times the price. But he went on. He says that the company isn't able to eat the cost, and says since September, it's actually had to curtail production by 40%. Here's why. He says that the power, as demand spikes, all of a sudden the cost of power, which has tripled, could all of a sudden triple again for an hour or 2 hours. And he's like, and we can't run the risk. So he says that they're on, like they got like the bat phone, like Commissioner Gordon calling Batman, except they've got the power plant on the phone. And the power plant's telling them, hey guys, oh man, yeah, one more person hits the popcorn button on the microwave and you're going to get a price spike, and they shut down, Jason.
Yeah, that we're headed for this. Unfortunately, I think all over the world. For example, and this isn't power, but with water in my neighborhood, when I moved into my house last year, the water company set limits that if you go over a certain amount for the year, you get a massive penalty for every gallon you bought for the entire year, and you get this bill for like, I don't know, $800 to a couple of $1,000 additional.
And you think, you bring up great points. We've got Hoover Dam, Glen Canyon Dam. These are major hydro-producing power plants here in the United States. This is a situation where we really haven't been faced with this before, but it's something where at this same meeting, so think about this. Yara International, huge fertilizer producer, says we've cut production by 40% because we can't run the risk of operating during peak power where all of a sudden the power bill could spike. Just ask the people in Texas. Remember when Texas froze and most people lost power, but there was just these little islands where they didn't lose power, and then all of a sudden they got $4,000 and $5,000 power bills for the month, right? That's what happens. But at this same conference, all the bankers were there, and the world's largest banks, and it wasn't, I think it was the world's 20 largest banks, all agreed at this conference that they were no longer going to invest in things like coal, natural gas, and crude oil.
Yep.
They made commitments. Yep. You know what? We're gonna divest ourselves, and we're not gonna loan money. And
yep.
Think about the idiocracy that is happening right now.
Think how dangerous it is, Joe. They also agreed to these are banks, and who buys a house without a mortgage? They will not in the future loan you money or give you refinance your home if it's not a green home. And they'll try to foreclose on you immediately if you don't get your house up to code. So you wonder why BlackRock is paying 50% more for every house out there? It's because it's going to get way, way more expensive. Property ownership is going away with this, Joe.
You know what? Wow. I didn't even put that together. I'm just sitting there thinking about, hey, you know what? You're a small oil company, natural gas company, and you're like, hey, man, I can make money at these prices. Let me go drill a well. Hey, you know what? I got to go borrow, 50 or $100,000 to get this well drilled. You go to the bank, you got great credit, this, that, the other. The bank says, oh, wait, you're doing what?
Nope, can't do it.
Oh, no, denied. Sorry, next, right? And again, I never even went to the next step of, is that going to be a prerequisite now, right, for you to be able to get a mortgage? Wow.
Yeah, with globalism, Joe, they want people in the rural areas and farms to move into the cities because that's all theirs. And you push everybody into these overpopulated cities, and that's where the rabble go. That's where all the underlings go, and they reap the benefit of the fruits of the country. There's a lot of farmers with a lot of mortgages, Joe, and they're either underwater, they're barely making it, and the banks will just, hey, your farmhouse, that 300-year-old house, yeah, that's not a green house. We can't give you another loan. You have to just sell your farm to us.
Man, it's incredible to think about. But I just wanted, again, you need to know these things. These are decisions that are being made, and here's the problem. The foods, and really the whole chain, the food chain, right, the products chain, it's a global system. And natural gas prices here in the U.S., yeah, they're up a couple 100 to 300%. But it's much worse in Europe, and the problem is we need all the fertilizer companies to produce. The second some of them can't, everybody pays more. Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm going to talk about what Jay Powell had to say yesterday.
Yes, ma'am, by God be darned.
800-951-0592. We're about halfway through on the Silver Eagles, so this is kind of our last gasp here. $700 a roll today. Silver back to that $24 level. Get ready. I'm on the bandwagon that we're going to see silver over $30 in the next 6 months. That's where I sit right now. I got the right to change my mind, but that's where I see it today. And I actually think when it breaks 30, it runs right to 40. That's just kind of what I think. And 50 is not out of the realm of possibility. But my guess is it's going to have to take a little rest before that happens. But again, Jason, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
No, we don't.
This is kind of the problem, right? Inventory levels, it's one thing to have low inventory, say, in lumber, okay? Or cotton's a little low. It's a whole different story when you're out there and saying we don't have enough energy. We don't have enough crude oil. We don't have enough natural gas. We don't have enough coal. We've now got manufacturers that, think about this, got a hotline to the power plants. So they can tell me, hey, you need to shut down right now. Turn all the plants off because you're getting ready to get hit with a super spike. And these super spikes, all of a sudden you go, and I don't know what they pay, but let's just keep it simple. Let's just say they paid $10 an hour to run the plant. With all, the machines are on, the lights are on, the employees are working, $10. Power plant calls, hey, in 5 minutes, you're going to be in super spike because too many people are using power now. And if they don't shut it off, instead of paying $10, they're paying $500. It's not like they're going to pay 12 or 15. Heck, it's not like they're even going to pay 20 or 30. No, it'll be hundreds of dollars. In the case of these places, probably be thousands because these plants are massive. And the amount of power they use is massive. So they have no choice. They have to shut down. Could you imagine if they produced in that? What a 50-pound bag of fertilizer would cost? right? It'd probably be the equivalent to an acre of land. I mean, it's just such an incredibly different story. And yesterday, Jay Powell was not at his best. And we've seen this from him in the past. Here's what they have agreed to. Next week, they're going to start tapering. $15 billion less in purchases. So they're still actually expanding their balance sheet, but just at a slower pace. We know they're going to do $15 billion in November and $15 billion in December because the next Fed meeting in December is going to be too late. So we know that's locked in. That is locked in. They want to reduce, their plan right now is to reduce it $15 billion a month until it's over, which they're doing $120 billion, so that'd be 8 months. So they're hoping to be done by taper by the end of June. That's the goal. Of course, he does what they always do. Hey, at any time, we can change our mind. Right? We can go faster, we can go slower. But as he started talking, it was because I've said all along, they don't really want to taper at all. And he even said, well, we're tapering now and using this pace. We still think we're right on inflation. I don't know how they could still think that. And it was interesting to listen to the members of the press say, but why are you saying this? But what about wages? Wages are skyrocketing. Right? What about energy prices? What about this and that? But he still stuck to the, it's COVID, supply chains, and we expect inflation. It's going to be hotter for longer. Yes, we agree, but it's going to get back to normal. And then they hit him with what I thought was the best question of the day. Should have been the easiest one. Hey, did you talk about maybe speeding up the time frame for hiking rates? Because remember, the Fed's official line, hey, we're not hiking rates. Maybe late 2023, 2024, sometime way off in the future. And you've got a few Fed guys, mostly the guys that got fired for illegal trading, that were saying, well, maybe we'll hike by the end of 2022. And he had a Joe Biden moment, started stumbling, didn't know what to say. And then he said, well, this meeting was only about taper. That's all we talked. We didn't even talk about interest rates. What? Wait a minute. You're telling me you met for 2 days, set up this taper thing, and you mean to tell me none of you talked about interest rates? Which, of course, everybody that's got an IQ higher than room temperature knows that they did. Here's the problem. See, if he had to admit it, well, yes, I admit it. Then that would essentially, Jason, mean what? Admitting that he was wrong, and they won't do that.
They don't admit they're wrong, Joe. I believe next year they're going to raise the rates after a massive emergency economically.
I absolutely agree. I am 100% agree. Interest rates are going to have to be raised. We have not seen inflation like this in so long. And again, remember, I'm just looking at inventory levels of things that are vital to, like energy, food, right? Remember, they always love to strip out food and energy from their little inflation data stuff. Of course, none of us can live without food and energy. And now, these are the things that are going to be most at risk. So it's going to be, we're living in very dangerous and interesting times. When we get back, Zero Hedge is reporting the Biden administration is supposed to announce today. I've been saying this for a very, very long time. Everybody's going to get forced to get vaccinated. The Biden administration is getting ready to double down. I'll tell you about that next, because that's actually going to make things even worse. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Still got a couple of lines open here. On the last of the U.S. Silver Eagles. Maybe, I don't want to say for sure, hey, this is it. Because, as Jason said, we could get somebody to walk in the door to sell silver. But being able to get it from wholesale sources looks very, very unlikely until 2022. They're $700 a roll today still. Once again, cheapest in the country at 800-951-0592. Silver's back to $24. Think about the ride silver's had. I mean, yesterday at the low was $23. Now it's back to 24. And again, I think we're going to see 30 plus. I wouldn't be shocked to see 40. 50 would still shock me. And I'm talking just next 6 months.
I agree with that.
But we'll see what happens. 800-951-0592. Please just stay on hold. We'll get you in the order that you called. And if we have them left, we'll have them. 1 10th-ounce gold Eagles. They were $240 yesterday. They're $245 today. There's nothing I can do. When silver jumps up, yesterday silver hit a low, or gold hit a low. It was $1,758. It's $1,800. It's up, $42. That's what happens. 1 10th-ounce gold Eagles, if you want them, at $245. The White House has just released new policies requiring all companies, big and small, to coerce their workers into accepting the vaccine or face termination. The date is January 4th. The president is expected to announce today that employers with more than 100 workers on their payroll must guarantee that their workers are fully vaccinated or tested weekly. So I guess there's a little bit of room here. By January 4th, 2022. If not, if you're caught with unvaccinated workers on your payroll after January 4th, you're going to face federal fines, and they're saying going to start at tens of thousands of dollars per offense.
The military is November 28th.
Right. Oh, thank you, Jason. What's more, they're not done. Healthcare workers, not so lucky. Tougher restrictions in healthcare. They're going to require every healthcare worker in the country to get vaccinated or lose their job. So it looks like business, vaccinated, or weekly testing, healthcare, vaccinated or nothing, right? Vaccinated or you won't have a job. That is the announcement that they're expecting. As we know, OSHA is going to be the one that is going to enforce this. They say, while corporations may be able to absorb some of the cost, small businesses, which will likely be left with difficult decisions. So in other words, what the government is saying is, hey, if you got people that don't want to get vaccinated, the weekly testing cost, that's on you. That's on you. Small business, you decide. Fire them, or you pony up for the weekly testing, Jason.
It's kind of funny how we're being set up with a new system where the government now, which used to be the patsy for everything that's going wrong, because it was always the banks and the financial interests that controlled Congress and the Senate, but now it's OSHA, it's the CDC, it's the WHO, it's Walmart, large companies. They're the ones that are enforcing these non-laws, and people just, it's not the government's fault, it's OSHA, right, Joe?
Right. Well, you bring up great points. The CDC could allow eviction moratoriums. And it's crazy the power that's been given. Now, I guess if there's good news, this was supposed to happen December 8th. So now the Biden administration has said, well, let's get through the holidays January 4th instead. So, again, as I'm reading this, I didn't see any mention of executive order. This is not a law. It hasn't been passed by Congress. So once again, it looks like they're trying to use the quote-unquote mandate and the threat of fines. And again, here's the problem. What are you going to do? Not comply? Be levied, what, they're saying tens of thousands of dollars per offense. So let's just say it's 50 grand per offense, because it's going to be a high number. You know that, because they want you to do it. Well, okay, so now you got 10 workers that didn't do it. Now what? There's 500 grand in fines. Plus you got to hire lawyers and battle the government. I mean, that's a lot to risk, Jason.
It is. The average person doesn't have that ability, and they know it. That's why they enforce these things through their little compartmentalized organizations. And so, really, what we need is we need the OSHA and CDC. We need that stuff just to go away. You know, if the government's going to enforce this, step up and do it yourself. Don't use have your little cronies do it. But that's where we're at.
It is truly amazing. All these little government agencies that you really did, right? They didn't think about it and using them as weapons against the citizenry. And again, this is it for employees of over 100. So I'm going to tell you, why do I have a bad feeling that what happens after January 4th? Okay, now any business, right? I mean, is that going to be the next step? Most likely. Patriot Radio News Hour. Hang in there, man. Maybe it'll get better. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. This is the final segment of the day today. Just got an update from Brittany. We've got 16 rolls of Silver Eagles left. That's it here. There's $700 at 800-951-0592. Gold right now. Off the highs barely, but 1796 right now. Silver's at 23.95. The Dow is the Dow's kind of mixed. The Dow's down 100 points. The Nasdaq's up 78 points. As the bond market, and this is again also expected. So here we are tapering. So you think, oh hey, the bond yields must be rising. Just the opposite. Bond yields rise on the rumor. They fall on the actual news. Why gold's running. The 10-year note, Jason, back to 1.5. I mean, it's so idiotic.
Well, my guess is what's going to happen.
10-year notes at 1.5.
I think what's going to happen, Joe, in the near term, now that they're tapering, I think, and this is I'll just give out my own time frame. Let's just say they do the tapering at the beginning of the month. I take it, so December, first couple of weeks.
The 15th.
The 15th. Oh boy. Okay, so. The fourth one would be February 15th. I'm going to use that because I think things are going to get wacky in February anyways. Anybody listening is knowing that. You get to that fourth taper, I think the markets are going to have a melt-up in the next few months. So I think you'll see the Dow and the S&P. I think you're going to see a melt-up with this. And then right about the time that this tapering is because things are just going to get worse. In 2015, that's your model for what's happening now with gold and silver. They started tapering in 2015, and slowly but surely gold came off those lows, silver came off those lows, and just started trailing upwards. And then they started doing the up in the rates. I don't think they get to pushing the rates up, Joe. I think Jerome Powell doesn't want to talk about rate hikes. He wants to keep it very quiet and secret, because when this thing blows up, let's just say February, the fourth taper happens, and just things just go wrong. The Dow and the S&P start crashing. That'll be there. Well, we'll be a hero. We'll start raising the rates. Everything is really, really bad. This is how we're going to fix it. I think they want to keep it very quiet, so it's like a tool that they can fake like they're going to fix things, Joe.
Man, it's hard to argue. I know you've been calling for a February that is not going to be very kind. So putting some silver away ahead of that sure makes a lot of sense right now. U.S. Silver Eagles, the last that we have, at least for right now, at $700 a roll at 800-951-0592. We do have 10th-ounce gold Eagles. Still a great price today at $245 as well. And we'll see how all of this stuff plays out as we're watching, what is happening on the inflation front, food prices, energy prices. Today, OPEC said, hey, listen, here's our schedule. We're not changing it, right? We're not going to increase production, and that's going to keep prices elevated. I don't like what I heard out of the Paris Accord meetings, where they're, again, going to invest even less and less into this. I think we're just almost like they're deliberately setting us up for another one of these energy crises, very similar to the 70s.
Absolutely. I'll have to give Trump credit for pulling us out of the Paris Climate Accords when he did. That's I try really hard to look for good Trump news, and was he right on that one?
That was one of them.